This cocktail is sweet, smooth, and quite strong. This week, let me show you how to make a Churchill cocktail. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Matt, I'm the Whiskey Nerd, and today, like I said, I'm making a cocktail that is sweet but still quite strong. I'm making a Churchill cocktail, and the kind of origins for this cocktail come from Joe Gilmore at the Savoy Bar, in the cocktail bar there, in like the mid to late 1900s. So he made this cocktail in honor of Winston Churchill, who apparently preferred his whiskey neat, but that didn't stop Mr. Gilmore from making a cocktail in his honor. It is a whiskey-based cocktail, so we are going to be using some whiskey right here. This is Blended Scotch whiskey. Now, Churchill apparently preferred Johnnie Walker Red, which is a blended Scotch whiskey. I personally do not like Johnnie Walker Red, so I'm not going to buy a full-size bottle of it, but I was able to find a small bottle of this here J&B, which is a similar kind of style of Scotch. It's not like a super premium, it's not super heavyweight, really like peaty Scotch, just kind of a basic middle of the road blended Scotch, which is kind of what Johnnie Walker is, or at least what it is today. It also uses some triple sec, some sweet vermouth. I've got here Martini's Rosso sweet vermouth, and some lime juice to kind of round it out and give a bit of extra citrus to the cocktail. So that's enough time talking about it. I think it's time we make it. It is actually a shake and drink, despite the fact that it uses vermouth. So we're going to get a shaker tin and pop a nice rock of ice into there before we measure out our ingredients. Starting off with our Scotch, we're going to go in with 45ml or an ounce and a half of our J&B Scotch whiskey, but you can use whatever kind of blended Scotch whiskey you like. This is just J&B, you can use whatever you want. This does say it's a blend of the purest old Scotch whiskies, which might be creative license and fancy marketing talk. It is a basic Scotch whiskey, so if you want, you can use something a little bit better, but the original recipe did call for something like Johnnie Walker Red. Next up, it's our triple sec. We're going to go in with 15ml of our triple sec into here, and this is going to give us a nice kind of sweetness, but also triple sec is an orange liqueur, so it gives you a little bit of extra kind of flavor to the cocktail without just giving you that sweetness. So, like I said, that there was 15ml into there. Then we're going to go in with our Martini's Rosso sweet vermouth. You can go in with whatever your vermouth of preference is, but this is a kind of a regular kind of, I wouldn't say bottom shelf, but like entry level kind of vermouth. I quite like the taste of it, but you don't need to use something super fancy in it. You can, of course, use a really fancy Scotch, use a really fancy vermouth, but I'm just using that kind of basic Scotch, basic vermouth right there. And lastly, our freshly squeezed lime juice. This is going to be 15ml of freshly squeezed lime juice. I will say that the recipe I saw on Difford's said that they use lemon juice in it. Now, the original recipe did call for a lime juice, so I'm sticking with the original, but if you prefer it with lemon juice, you can obviously try that out. So bang the top on a cocktail shaker and shake it for about 30 seconds to get it nice and cold. Okay, I think that is nicely chilled now. So we're gonna bang the top off our shaker and get ready to strain it out into a nicely chilled Nick and Nora glass. So pop a little Hawthorne strainer up there just to catch any little ice chips and pour it out just like that. Now, the recipe actually didn't call for a garnish because it's got like lime juice is quite nice. You can obviously add whatever garnish you want, but I'm just sticking to the classic. So that right there is how I make a Churchill cocktail. Now, real quick before I taste this cocktail, if you're new here, scroll down, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. I put out cocktail recipes like this featuring whiskey every Friday, and I put out whiskey reviews every Wednesday. I didn't do a review of this J&B whiskey because it's super basic, but if you want to see me do a review of that, let me know in the comments below. But right now, let's taste this cocktail. Cheers. It's nice. It's quite, like I said, it's sweet and smooth, but still kind of strong. Like you can get, like, there's 3 alcoholic ingredients in here, so you're gonna get that boozy kind of forward nature of it. But it is like whiskey. That whiskey's 40%, not super strong, but because like everything is alcoholic, it's all kind of pulling together with a bit of weight, but not like in a bad way, not in a harsh way. Like it is still sweet and smooth. I think the lime juice, for me, for my money, the lemon juice is a bit tart. The lime juice is also tart, but has a bit more kind of zing, and I think that works better with the cocktail. The sweet vermouth is kind of hidden in there. The triple sec is kind of hidden in there. The whiskey does shine through. You get a bit of that malty flavor, a bit of almost peaty flavor. You get like that kind of taste of it coming through in the cocktail, but it's not dominating it. Everything is kind of working well together. It reminds me a little bit of like a James Joyce cocktail, which is an Irish whiskey based cocktail. And I think that one, it's a little bit like smoother. It's less like whiskey forward, because using an Irish whiskey, which is typically a little bit smoother, a little bit softer, a little bit more easygoing. This here, the whiskey character is definitely there, but it's not, like I said, it's not dominating. It's quite actually a nice little cocktail that even just changing like that one ingredient from an Irish whiskey to a Scottish whiskey does give you a different kind of flavor experience. Quite nice. I do quite like this. It's quite enjoyable. I don't think it does need a garnish on top. I think just a little bit of a classic kind of taste in a Nick and Nora glass like that. Easy little sipper, easy to enjoy. So I'm definitely going to keep on enjoying this. If you have any ideas for other Scotch whiskey cocktails I could make, let me know down below. But right now, I'm going to keep on enjoying this one. I'll see you next time. Sláinte.